Hello, I'm streaming to live. I'm Gordon with Unlock Your Bioenergy. Today is Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. And today I want to listen to the horse's mouth being David Schmidt. And I want you to hear what he has to say. So, without further ado, let's try this. And we need this guy right here. And here we go.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's several different ways of thinking about light therapy. The basics, which date back several thousands of years, you could go back to ancient Greece or India, was simply using different colored lights to treat the body. And people happened to notice that there was a physiological or emotional response. It made people feel better. Um, and then, as light therapy progressed in with modern electronics, different frequencies of energy, light therapy was combined with sound. We began to get the ability to measure the physiological response, and it was noticed that indeed, when you put specific wavelengths onto the skin, or you can irradiate blood with different wavelengths of light, there's going to be a physiological response. Interestingly enough, 25 years ago, light therapy was thought of as being quackery, that there was no scientific basis for it. But now, with more than 5,000 clinical studies that are published, we know exactly what happens. So, with traditional light therapy, you stimulate the skin with a specific wavelength of light. Now, this could be in the infrared band. 850 nanometers is a popular wavelength because it turns on mitochondrial function. 630, 660 nanometers in the visible band is also very well researched for its ability to turn on collagen production. And then light therapy is even used in the UV band. So, for example, people can go out in the sun. Men specifically can stimulate the androgen receptors on their trapezius muscles and elevate testosterone, in addition to elevating vitamin D. So we can
Trapezoid
quantify
muscles.
today the physiological response to light therapy. What the
Up here.
way that
Upper body.
LifeWave does it that's different is that we modulate the light. This is a technique that has been very well known in laser communications, where infrared light is used as a carrier wave, and then that light is modulated to contain information. So we can speak over a beam of light. With my invention with LifeWave, we modulate the light, but in this particular case, we use it to turn on a specific physiological response. So, as an example, if we wanted to elevate the body's master antioxidant, glutathione, we stimulate the body with light, and then the light contains the information to activate the receptor that manufactures glutathione in the body.
Let's circle back to LifeWave and how you actually were confronted or it was brought to your attention. I know that a lot of individuals have spoken, especially like Renita, talking about the fact of getting connected and contacted by the Navy SEALs. Now, it's been in the forefront the last X amount of years. However, you actually invented this a while back and clearly created some tweaks along the way. So let's talk about how you created and why you created the patch.
Sure. It started in the 1990s and the late 1990s. I had been developing survival equipment for the U.S. Navy through government contractors. And specifically, I was doing work for General Dynamics Electric Boat and Newport News Shipbuilding. And my team was developing emergency power generation equipment, emergency oxygen supplies. I had invented a number of new ways to generate power for rescue radios. And one of the devices I invented was supposed to be impossible to create. So I was asked to be part of a design team for a mini sub. And in this case, the mini sub was attaching to the Virginia class submarine, which is they have vertical launch missile tubes for cruise missiles. But in this case, there was going to be a crew of Navy SEALs on this mini sub, and the goal was to see if I could find a method for improving their survivability. The crew would be going on missions that would be extremely long, 30 hours, 60 hours. So I thought maybe I can find a way to keep them awake without having to resort to caffeine or amphetamines. So the basic idea become, if since we have more energy that we derive from burning fat than carbohydrates, if we could turn on beta oxidation in the cell and increase fat burning, this would be a way of improving their total amount of energy and perhaps keeping them awake longer. And so I developed it under that context. Around that same time was 9/11, and the military and contractors were interested in weapon systems. So I decided to take the technology public and started LifeWave in 2002.
Wow. You know, and when Renita and I had a conversation in regards to LifeWave, she brought up the Navy SEALs. And to make a long story short, when COVID hit, I wanted something for myself to make sure that I could push myself, find that red line. So I was able to do different crucibles with some of the retired Navy SEALs. And their focus, their resilience, all of those different components, and to find something for them so that they don't have to take, like you had said, ephedrine, caffeine, all of those different components is huge because they are machines. I mean, they literally are, and they were put into that position. They chose that position, but God also put them in that position to make sure that we have strong individuals that are resilient. But at the same point, they also need different ways to make sure that they're restoring not only their mind, their body, and then again leading into their stem cells as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we owe an incredible debt of gratitude to the fine men and women of our armed services that protect our liberties and freedoms each and every day. And most people have no idea how harsh the training is and the commitment for them to do it is what that they do. So we'll take this opportunity to express our thanks and appreciation for the liberties that we have because of our armed services.
100%. You know, David, we're going to go into a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about defining the different forms of energy, but then also talking about 5G and how it impacts our bodies as well. And you don't know what you don't know until you know, and that's really what it comes down to. When we look at the health and wellness industry, it has become such a push towards pharmaceuticals, and it's important to understand that there are different ways to win when it comes to your health. So I want to talk about a lot of different things with you, David, but there's one thing that I really want to hit right now is I'm curious in regards to how is the human body impacted by external frequencies when we're looking at all of the different 5G towers and all of the different buildings and stuff too that they are, putting up right now. I know I'm extremely sensitive if I'm in front of my cell phone for a long period of time or sitting in front of my computer. So what does that look like when we're talking about frequencies and the impact on the body?
Okay, so I'm going to define the problem, but then also give people a practical solution that they can implement today that will make a difference on their health. So first, let's define the problem. It's important to know that research going back to the 1960s by Robert Becker demonstrated that the electrical properties of the body control the biochemistry. So we understand that when we have a thought to move our muscles, that those muscles will move, and that has to get translated into a release of biochemical energy into the muscle. We're using up ATP, and we're getting that ATP from food. That's through the Krebs cycle that we generate that energy. Now, as bioelectrical current goes through the nervous system, it generates electromagnetic fields at right angles. This is a basic principle in physics. So if we use something called a squid magnetometer, which is a superconducting coil to detect very minute magnetic fields, when we put that coil over the brain or the heart or even the hands, we will detect magnetic fields coming off of the human body. Human body obviously produces sound. We have infrared energy that's traveling through the body through very thin collagen fibers. In Eastern medicine, they call these meridians, and that's what acupuncture is based on. But scientifically, we know that there are these very thin threads of collagen fibers in the body that have electrolytes attached to them, and they have a propensity to conduct infrared energy. So our body has fiber optic cables using infrared light for communication. The DNA gives off highly coherent pulses of light. These are known as biophotons. And these coherent pulses of light initiate thousands of different biochemical reactions within the cells. These are known as signal induction and signal transduction mechanisms. So it's what allows the cell to do what it does on the inside, and it also allows cells to communicate with one another. So this is to say that we are an entity that is controlled by different forms of energy, and that energy controls the biochemistry. So this is important because once we introduce something like 5G, which is a microwave, we should understand that this is going to have an impact, either positive or negative, on our bodies. So we go back to studies done at the University of Colorado School of Medicine. It showed, even before 5G, going back to 3G, that microwaves would have a negative effect on our bodies. Specifically, holding a cell phone up to the head will create localized heating in the brain tissue. Now, this is approved by the government, and they say, well, the levels of radiation are so low that it's safe. However, further research has documented that this, in fact, is not the case, and people that live near microwave towers and high-tension electrical lines have a greater chance of developing cancer. So we should be very, very concerned about being bathed in these unnatural electromagnetic fields. Now, one of the ways that we can protect ourselves, since 5G is all around us today, is to increase our daily amount of copper. This is a little bit difficult to do in our diet. Rich sources of copper would include things like lobster and chocolate and wheatgrass. However, I would recommend that people take a copper supplement. I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not providing medical advice, but they could speak with their doctor about taking 2 or 4 milligrams per day of a copper glycinate. The copper will build up in the body, but it also gets stored in our skin. And our research has shown that if we can mobilize the copper and get it to bind to specific peptides such as GHK and AHK, that in fact our body has the God-created ability to act as a Faraday cage, screening out and reducing the impact of these artificial electromagnetic waves. So thankfully, we were created with the ability to deal with this.
Oh, absolutely. But I want to make sure that individuals, when David Schmidt is talking about chocolate, don't go out and buy a bunch of chocolate and consume that on a daily basis. I just want to throw that out so my personal training clients don't come in tomorrow and say, hey, Mariah, well, I heard your show and David had suggested eating chocolate. Okay, let's talk about that. So we're going to take it out of first, put it in reverse for a hot second here. Now, in regards to the daily copper, but you also mentioned about peptides, the GHK. Let's talk about Dr. Pickard. You know, that's one individual that you have mentioned numerous times. Let's talk about the importance of copper peptides and breaking that down because, again, there's a lot of new things that are coming to the service. Unless you're actually looking for something, you know, we have to hear it. We have to see it. And then that's when we start connecting with different research that's out there. So let's talk about copper peptides and Dr. Pickard.
Yeah. So Lauren Pickard, who should win a Nobel Prize, discovered copper peptide back in the late 1960s, early 1970s, and devoted 45, 50 years of his life to studying this incredible, simple 3 amino acid peptide. It's GHK, which is glycine, histidine, lysine, and it has an affinity for binding with copper. Now, GHK on its own has metabolic effects in the body, but it will bind with copper and then have additional effects, which are rather remarkable. So first thing is, Copper peptide shows that this is something natural in the human body that declines with age. And as we get over the age of 60, like many things, the levels of copper peptide have decreased by over 60%. Now, when we consider what this one single peptide does, it becomes a target when we're looking at potential ways to stop and reverse human aging. So, for example, copper peptide has been shown to mobilize stem cells in the body. And stem cells are, of course, basic cells that differentiate into healthy tissue. And every cell in our body was once a stem cell. Copper peptide will promote increases in the release of collagen from the fibroblasts. So copper peptide takes place in wound healing. This peptide will also help to manage inflammatory stress. And this is an important part of healing. So in other words, when we experience an injury, we need oxidative stress at the injury site to bring down any potential bacterial infection. We need the inflammatory stress to tear down the damaged tissue. And then the inflammatory cytokines act as signaling molecules to bring in stem cells that are going to repair the damage. But if we don't have complete control over the inflammatory stress, which is called inflammaging as we get older, that means that we can have injuries, and instead of being an acute injury, it now becomes a chronic injury. So this is all to say a strategy that people can use quite effectively for as they age is have a healthy diet, get your rest, get plenty of exercise, hydrate, supplement with antioxidants, and look for methods to elevate your copper peptide to get better control over inflammation and better control over the way that you heal. So that's a start to that conversation.
Hey, it's
about
a great
copper
start.
peptide.
I want to talk about X39 when we come back. We're going to go into a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about X39 and the fact of reactivating stem cells, repairing DNA, because it's important for people to understand, you know, when we look at things that are available, when we look at a patch, people are going to be like, really? Does a patch do that? I want you to explain how and what they can expect from doing so.
So, the copper peptide. David talked about 3 specific amino acids that bind with copper inside the body. And I think most people don't know that egg whites in egg have complete protein profile. So if you are one to not eat egg whites on a regular basis, you're kind of missing out on the opportunity for the body to use the amino acids that are inside the egg whites and get processed so that it binds with copper. And it kind of makes sense, like how all this body functions work, and how people in the fitness community know about eating egg whites and have known for since the days of Hulk Hogan. Like, seriously. He's been around, he was eating egg whites and without actually cooking them. He was putting them in the glass and swallowing them, right? And was he wrong for doing that? Was he crazy? Well, maybe, but he did live a long time. So when I talk about the different pieces of the puzzle that are needed for the body to rejuvenate it and repair itself, it's so important to know that when you combine the things together is when you will have a situation of success inside the body. So if you miss to eat your protein, your complete protein, the amino acid profile, you miss your minerals, and one of those minerals being copper, and if you miss the binder, which is hydrogen and oxygen from that of water, and then you miss exercise, you miss rest, and then you miss the light, well, then guess what? Progressively, you're going to put yourself into a chronic state of decline. And it's not rocket science, per se, but when you think about it from a Cole's Notes perspective, it makes sense that things will go down if you don't take care of yourself, you don't be proactive on a regular basis. And I find it very intriguing when good health should not be complicated, but an industry has made it just that, complicated. Does it need to be that way? The answer is no. Make good choices so that way you can reap the benefits from them. I think I'm making good choices and I'm leading by example. Using a copper cup. And I fill it with 114 degree molecular bond angle water, which scientifically has been proven to be 114 degree molecular bond angle. So, is it a facade like the light wave technology? No. I'm wearing it every day and I'm showing you. Yesterday I started turtle training. And there was, how would you say, a variety of different exercises that were really focused, but I used the metronome. You see here? I was just charging this guy. Let's see if it goes. The metronome here. Let's see if it's... There we go. So, you can... I was doing what I call turtle training, when a turtle's moving. So I did back and biceps yesterday. So, do my biceps hurt 2 days? No. But they were hurting yesterday. I'll tell you that. The pump was on yesterday. Okay. And I ate one meal. And I did have some peanut butter as well, which is a source of copper. And I had, what did I eat yesterday? Oh, chicken breast with beets, some red pepper, bell pepper, yellow pepper, orange. There's a fly down here bugging me. And had some roasted carrots. So that's what I ate yesterday. And do I feel recovered? Quite a bit. Slept very well. I was actually up late, longer than I normally am, because I was live streaming last night, playing my accordion, and then went to bed, woke up. I haven't had any salt yet. I probably should have. But I did have 1 glass of water. So I've been fasting essentially since dinner time yesterday, which it was around 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock my time. So it's a remarkable how when you combine the right pieces together, this being one of them, with your nutritional choices, your beverage choices, and your rest, and then I did the exercise, and it's just phenomenal how things have improved. But most importantly is that my ability to actually work hard while doing the exercises. And it's without you really experiencing it, you don't know. Because you say, oh yeah, it looks easy. It looks easy. Well, you try it. Do an adequate weight. Follow me today. We're going to do more turtle training. Oh, and I forgot to update, I realize now, the list for today. Dun, 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 dun. So, we're going to do this right as we go. So, yesterday I did pull-ups and rows. So today, for the Black King, what did I put? It's going to be, I'm going to do push-ups. To failure, I put 2. Failure, and then depending if I reach failure, then if I do reach failure and there's still a number of reps to do, then I will switch to failure, upper chest. Okay, and I will demonstrate how I'm going to do that. And then for the Red King, it's going to be dips. And when you are doing them turtle speed, then guess what? Will you be able to last all the reps? That is the question. And when you're doing slow training, there's no cheating. Don't cheat. It's easy to cheat. Then, for the Queen, Black Queen, I've selected the facing towards the wall, so it'll be facing towards the wall. Tricep. I can't type today. Tricep extensions. And then we have facing away tricep extensions. So I'm using the same color bands that I used yesterday for bicep curls. So that way I balance the strength and muscle, because they're kind of the same, you know. Like bicep here can be stronger than the tricep. Generally, it's moving the same amount of bone, right? So you got the hand, right? And generally speaking, a pull is going to be stronger as opposed to a push. So, you know, it depends. But I like to have balance, especially between the two movements, right? So that way, you know, you don't have one that's excessively stronger over the other. And then when it comes to athletic situations, you want to be able to do it. Some guys, like if you're playing football, then you've got to be able to push, right? But can you use a pull, let's say, to move people away, out of the way? You could, right? But generally speaking, then that turns into a foul or a penalty if you're pulling, right? Because then you're grabbing. So it's about playing with the weight. If you can isometrically control it, you know, coming back, and use that exact, you know, like if somebody's pushing and they want to push, you know, you switch it back and then you move, right? So you don't have to necessarily grab, right? So, you know, little tricks. And then lastly, the jack is going to be with the rope. So sticking with that. And that is today's workout using the metronome at 60 beats. So, switching over to the app where we're going to keep track of the heart rate, kind of keep a measure of something's up here. I don't know. And let's begin today's workout. Turn on the metronome so you can hear it. There's 60 beats per minute. That way I don't cheat, because it's easy to cheat the movements. Very easy. Especially when it doesn't feel comfortable. And when it hurts, that's when you cheat. Alright, so brief description for dips. You're going to have bands at the top here. Okay, so basically you're going to kneel down and then 8 second. So press it down and you push it. Okay, that's going to be for dip. So that's 8 seconds down, 8 seconds up. Then push up is the same thing, just a regular push up, and we're gonna do a complete 8 second rep. Okay, turtles. And then facing away, I've got a band attached here, another one up here. So 2 bands. So this is the same color that was used yesterday. And then facing away, right? And then I think could probably alternate between hammer and straight bar, so that way you work a little bit of the different tricep muscles, because there's multiple in the back. And then rope. So if we flip a 10, it's 5 reps. If you flip a 9, it's 5. 8 is 4. 7 is 4. 6 is 3. 5 is 3 reps. So it's going to be a lot of work today. So I imagine that it'll be maybe close to 40 minutes. So it's a little bit longer because of the type of training that we're doing. And that was the case yesterday, so hopefully it's not too long. Alright, so without further ado, let's get going. First card is Red King 10. So we're doing dips. Okay, down, and here we go. That's 1. Two. 3. 4. 5. 6. Next card is going to be red ace 5. So we're doing dips again. So we're doing 6 reps or 3 reps. There's 1. It's 2 reps. This is 3. All right. Now, facing away, tricep extensions. Try to switch quickly. And there's 3. All right. Now, 50 skips. 10. 20. 30. 40. 50. All right. Next up, jack 8. 10. 20. 30. 40. 50. 60. 70. 80. All right. Next card. Queen 4. So red queen. So we are facing away. And so we're doing 2 reps. All right. Next up, black queen 7, so it's 4 reps. All right. Now we are facing towards the wall. I get myself straightened out here. Here we go. Okay. There's 2. Three. There's 4. Next up is black queen again. So this time 3 reps, drawing a 6. All right, here we go. And I'm going to switch to hammer. This is 3. All right. Next up, black ace 4. So we're doing push-ups. We got 2. Here we go. And all right. Now, face towards the wall. We got 2 reps. All right. Now, 40 skips. Here we go. 10. 20. 30. 40. All right. Next up, black king 3. So we got 2 reps. There we go. All right, next up, jack 3. 10. 20. 30. Next up, black king, drawing a 7, so we're doing 4 reps. Here we go. That's 1. It's 2. It's 3. Oh. Wow. Here we go. Jack 10. 10. 20. 30. 40. 50. 60. 70. 80. 90. 100. All right. Wow. Next, red ace. 9. So we're doing 5. Doing dips. It's 2. This is 3. This is 4. There's 5. Wow. All right, so next up is facing away tricep. And we go. 5 reps. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5. All right, so 90 skips. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Oh, I did 10 too many. All right. Red queen, 10. So that's 5 reps. We are doing facing away. Oh. This one. That's 2. It's 3. Four. This is number 5. Oh! Wow. Oh my goodness, that burns. Next, Red King, 7. So we're doing dips. We have 8 reps or 4 reps. This is 3. Gah! All right. Next card, Jack, 10. 10. 20. 30. 40. 50. 60. 70. 80. 90. 100. All right, next up, Black Ace, 9. So we're doing 5 reps of push-ups. Oh, this is going to be hard. Oh. Wow. Spent already. Okay, so for the failure, I said I would switch. I'll do the upper chest and go. Wow. Now it's facing towards the wall. 5 reps. This is 3. This is 4. Wow. Okay, rest. So 25, 22. Wow. Flipping the cards, base cards. So lots of big numbers in the first round. All right. I said 25, 22 is when the rest started. I could probably, since maybe I'll just wait the rest. The pump is very strong. And 0 pre-workouts for me. The only pre-workout I take is 114 degree molecular bond angle water. That's the only thing. You can probably see it. The pump is really strong. Alright, so 25, 22 I said. I can certainly feel the lower pectoral muscle when I'm doing the dips. I can really feel it. So that's a good sign that the resistance that I have is strong enough. Alright, so first card is going to be Red King. 6 reps. We're doing a total of 3. And let's begin. Squeeze that pectoral muscle at the very end. Alright, that's 3. Next up is Red Ace. 4 reps. So we're doing 2 of each. There we go. And there's 1. There's 2. Alright, now face away tricep extensions, and all right. Now, 40 skips. 10, 20, 30, 40. Next up, jack. 4, 10, 20, 30, 40. Next card, red queen, 4 reps. So we're facing away. There we go. This is the 3rd rep. One more. My left is definitely stronger than my right. Black queen. So we're doing 5 reps. So we're facing towards the wall. And okay, here we go. And oh. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. And here's the last rep. Wow. Okay, next up, black queen again. This time, 3 reps. So we're facing towards again. Wow. Okay. And that's 2 reps. Wow. Next up, black ace, and we're doing 3, which is called, so 2 reps, so 2 push-ups. That was my shoe, by the way. Forwards facing towards the wall, so 2 reps. Wow, okay. Wow. All right. 30 skips. 10. 20. 30. All right. Next up, black king. 3. All right. It's gonna be hard. No, I'm pushing hard. Wow. Probably could do a knee push up from the knee as opposed to doing the upper, but that's okay. Jack 8. 10. 20. 30. 40. 50. 60. 70. 80. Next up, black king, 5. So 3 reps. See if I can do it. Can't get out. Wow. Okay. I'll do one more. Doing from the knees. Wow. Wow. Oh my. See, I told you I'm not strong push. Jack, 7. 10. 20. 30. 40. 50. 60. 70. Next up, red ace, 4 reps. So we're doing dips. And go. Just 3 reps. 1 more. Wow. All right. 80 skips. 10. 20. 30. 40. 50. 60. 70. 80. Next up, red queen, 2 reps, facing away. And here we go. Next card, red king, 5. So we're doing dips. Oh, so I flipped to 5. We're doing 3 reps. And that's 2 reps. 1 more. Next up, Jack, 90 skips. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, Last face card, black ace, 3 reps. Okay. I can't get out. No. I need a rest to do it. Alright, so facing towards the wall, 3 reps. Wow, okay. So 48 or 46:30. Wow, that's quite the torture for today. I'm going to call it torture because that was hard. Until I waited a while before I would start doing this type of training. I think it was about a good 10 weeks, I think, about that. 10 weeks. Because in order to build up the strength for this type of workout, it takes a while. And honestly, this week is going to really test how much strength I have developed, but also, you know, a little bit of your endurance as well. So obviously with the push exercises, it was a struggle for me today, and I'm the first to admit that I'm not haven't been that strong with push exercises for many years. So for me, it's something that I need to work on, and yeah, hopefully I can get there. I think I can, but some of it is genetics too, because if you have smaller muscle, smaller pectoral, then it's going to be harder for you, right? So for me, I'm gifted more on in the lower part of the body. So there we go. That's the so we're just going to do a quick. So today's date is October 7th, 2025. Starting time was pi 314. Isn't that interesting? Okay, and then just gonna zoom in here to see the heart rate. So yeah, my heart rate actually dipped below 50. Wow. And then up and down, up, down, yo-yos. So obviously my heart rate was a little bit more elevated in the second round of face cards because of the drop in oxygen inside the body. So that's becoming, I guess you would say, a regular occurrence now. I'm starting to really notice, to see the differences between the first and second round as each week comes around, and depending on how much water I drink before I start will influence how much energy I use from the water to do the exercises, because hydrogen is a precursor for ATP inside the body. Even though David in the podcast earlier in this episode, or in today's session, he talked about amino acids being precursor, but I think it's more along the lines of hydrogen and oxygen, because generally if you're not breathing, you can't do anything. So you need to have those two pieces present inside the body in order to be conductive and electrical. So the hydrogen is a fuel. We know that. It's very explosive. It's got a lot of energy. So obviously you want to consume, or you should consume, the cleanest but also the most absorbable version of it. And when I talk about the cleanest, I'm talking about radioactive clean, because hydrogen is known to have 3 isotopes. One is positive, neutral, and I guess the third one is radioactive. And if you don't believe me, go listen to Joe Rogan's second highest viewed podcast of all time, and you'll hear it there from an interesting person that was a guest on that show, and he's the one who mentioned it. And not only that, John Ellis himself talks about radioactivity inside that of the water. So, and he said that the only way you can remove it is by rapidly heating and cooling water over and over again. That's how you remove the radioactivity from it. So, am I drinking radioactive free water, known as 114 degree molecular bond angle water? Yeah. And that's my only pre-workout. So, proof's in the pudding. And the only way I reach failure is when I reach failure. But generally speaking, I can do a lot. Today I did quite a bit. And even the triceps hurt. Right? So, one day I'll show you the this part. Not quite there yet. So, but it's happening. So, if you haven't done so already, click on. Yes, where are you? Where are you? Oh, okay, I see what's going on. Click on this QR code, or actually scan it with your phone. And then when the yellow shows, the little button recognizes the QR code, it'll take you to that website that you see there. That's lifewave.com/Gordon Tomazic/store, and that's where you can find the X39. So, if you decide to subscribe, your price is $99. Let me see what else here. Okay, $99.95. That means that you want to try it for a few months, and you automatically become a brand member when you sign up that way. So that's included in the cost of the $99.95 plus shipping. If you don't want to become a brand member, then pay $149.95. Then you just basically, you're paying extra. So that's kind of like the, would you say the bonus you get from signing up as a subscription. But you can turn the subscription off if you want to. You can. You're not obligated to keep it active. But that you retain your brand member status. So let's say you do try it. And you do recognize, but you don't have the funds for the second month. Well then, if you're like me, pretty frugal, if you've watched any other previous episodes of Unlock Your Bioenergy, you'll see here where I talk about all kinds of different things on the channel, on YouTube. You can also find it on Rumble, because the live stream that's here on this platform gets removed, doesn't stay on here. But all content is here. Alright, so this is 7 months worth of work that I've got up here. And only 2 people have purchased up until this time. So, I don't know why. Are you scared? You're scared to help yourself? Help reverse the negative effects? Give it a shot. And let me help you. Let me motivate you. And lastly, if you want to try the water, send me a message. You can find me on Facebook, Gordon Zdravko, Zdravko, Tmazik, with the accents on the Z and the C. Correct pronunciation is Tomajic. So, for all those people out there that know about the Balkan language, yes, I am from Balkan descent. And hope to see you tomorrow for Wacky Wednesday. It's going to be leg day. It's going to be a gooder. So, eat a good meal, rest up, make sure you get your patches, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.